Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Excited to see you today. I'm filming this on a Saturday morning and I've got my cup of coffee here and I'm excited to go through all of my pages since the last time we spoke. This might be kind of a long one. I actually got through a lot of pages for the last few weeks. Majority Hannah Carlson, there's a few sprinkled in throughout. We had a lot going on. I tend, when there's a lot going on, I tend to go back to my Hannah Carlson. So that is what has happened, but let's jump in and get started. I also experimented with a lot of new to me mediums. So glad to share that with you if it's helpful and kind of success. And some of these I really like and some of these I don't. So let's start with seasons. So I have 2 seasons copies now. So I have my original seasons and then because we can't get the US version of seasons easily, or at all. I have yet to be able to find seasons to reorder it. I did order the Dutch version. You can get this on Amazon, or I was able to find it on Amazon. So I did reorder a copy. And I started fresh with the new seasons, and I started in the fall section. So to get started with that, let's jump to the first page. So I did this one. Just a easy page kind of to start with. So I did all of the bright yellow gold. I did that with my luminance pencils as well as the mushrooms. This is oil pastel and then some gold splatter, some gold shimmer on there. So and this is also then sprayed. With the oil pastels, after I spray it, I usually always do some distress ink. So I think this is Gathered Twig distress ink on the corners just to darken it up a little bit. It is a mixture of oil pastels that, and there's a dark on the corner, but I find that by the time that I rub it all in and combine them all, I do need a little bit of distress ink on the corners. So I usually always do that at the very end. It's like the last step. So I did that page to get me started in this book. I also did the spider. So the spider, this is all with inks. These are actually, which inks are these? These are the Elements by Lavinia, the ink. These are extremely juicy. I think we're actually sold out of this ink. It went really fast when we had it. But this ink is extremely juicy. So I had a few of those, and so I just did a few colors. Hopefully you can see. This is kind of a neon green color. I think it's their kind of lime color that I did just down in the background. And then just use some of the different blue shades around the edge. And yeah, I did not use masking fluid when I did that. I just kind of went to town with the inks because I knew that the spider was actually going to be metallic and acrylic. So the spider itself is acrylic, and then hopefully you can see that shine. This is using some of my glitter gel pens. It's my Koreans for the gold, and then I think it's those ones that I showed you before that I got from Amazon. Let me see. It's these that I showed you before. I've been tending to use these so much. So these are the Golden Shine markers. And I like them because they have that little nib. So, and so far I bought replacement packs. I haven't had to break into those. So it's just the same pack. So yeah, I think that turned out really well. I really like the shine. The page, it was all about using those inks. And so the spider, I just kind of didn't think about it too much, just use some pretty colors. Oh, the background also has a stamp. So this is one of my favorite Tim Holtz stamps that he has done. I think I have all the Halloween stamps now, even his old ones, just in my collection. This one, so I don't tend to use the words, but this is my favorite spiderweb stamp that he's ever made that I have in my collection. I use it all the time. So it's nice and big, easy to use. So I just take that out. I don't even put it on a plastic plate behind it. I just put the ink on it, and then I use it. And we have that stamp in the store, I can link it, but, and then I just stamp it around the edge. In hindsight, if I had to do this again, I think it would have been really cool if I'd used the Picket Fence ink, the white from Tim Holtz, and that would have been cool to also do. I think to do white spider webs so that you could see them just a little bit better. But yeah, I love that stamp. I find that I use that stamp every Halloween. It always tends to come out. So yeah, love that. Okay, this is the next page that I did. So this is the forest page. This was a fun page. This is all gelatos for the background. So for the gelatos, I think if you watch my last videos, you know I put gelatos on the palette and with a blender brush and some water, and then that's how I apply them. Again, didn't worry about masking fluid, just put them all around. I find them so easy to use. And then the rest is all pencil work. It's my Luminance pencils. And that shine from the page from the light is really, I mean, it's really just the pencils. They give kind of that shine. So that's that side of the page. Outlines with some acrylic markers, some Poscas, some Tule art for some of the outlining here. And then I did kind of want to make it kind of dark around the edges. So I, again, used some Distress ink. I think this is Ground Espresso on the edges. And it's the oxide ink that I tend to use. It's the gray package versus the black package. So if you're new to that, let me just show you, just because sometimes we get questions in the store. So this is the gray, this is the oxide, and this is the ink. So obviously this is darker. So if you want a darker effect, get the black packaging, the ink. And then if you want very water soluble and a lighter application, use the oxide. And this is the gray packaging. So there are the two versions. For this one, I'm pretty sure I used the ink. So yeah. So that's this page. Like it a lot. Use some enamel dots for his jewelry. This is how I tend to do crystals. So these crystals are, if you can see the shine, I always grab some metallic watercolor in just different colors and put the metallic watercolor in there. And then to darken it up, just a little bit of pencil over the metallic watercolor. And then I outline it with a white Posca. But I don't tend to spend a lot of time on crystals and things. I did the same thing for the diamond up here. It's hopefully you can see the shine of it. It's about that metallic watercolor, I think, that gives it kind of a crystal feel. So yeah, like this page a lot. Okay, moving along, this double page spread, I treated it like a double page spread. So this, I matched the blue on this side for the background using my Somat Colors paints from Golden that I love. They're acrylic paints in two different color blues. So a lighter blue and then faded into a darker blue of the acrylic paint. And then again, you used some ink on the outside to really darken it up, gold splatters. These are, so for this background, I experimented with my charcoal pencils from Derwent. So I hadn't used those before, and let me see if I can show those to you a little bit. No, I'm sorry, not charcoal, Graphitent. So they're Graphitent pencils. So they look like this. And I just got these, so I was trying them out. I used this color, Ivy, and I believe this one, Meadow. Yeah. So when you use these, they are water soluble, which is great. So you can put them down and then use a brush to blend them out, which is what I did here for the background. They have a grainy kind of look to them because I do think they have that graphite in them. So the result is kind of a, yeah, it's a grainy type of look to it, granulated. So I liked it. I thought it looked good. I think I'd use it for very specific applications, but it was fun. It was fun to try something new. So that was a good experiment. The rest are luminance pencils around the edges, a little bit of Posca, and that's it for that side. And then for this one, this is luminance pencils. I tried to do kind of a velvet to have him have a like velvet coat on. So that's what I was doing with my luminance. There is some metallic marker in here, luminance again. It's that same metallic paint pen that I just showed you. And yeah, I tried to make the colors come over to this side. This is the caramel color gelato, and then ink. And then again, that gathered twig, I think ink on the edges. But I really like this spread. I think it turned out really pretty. I like the blue kind of coordinating on both sides. I think that looks nice. And then the orange. So I tried to use the same colors on both pages. Very fall. So that's that. And then I think that's it so far. Oh, I started this one. Yeah, that's it so far for my new seasons book. So that was fun to get started on that. I do have one other page in my old seasons that I was working on. Oh, and I don't notice, the size is a little, just a touch bigger, in the Dutch version, but I didn't really notice any paper difference. I don't think I'm good enough to really notice when there's paper unless it's very, very different. So both are great. It's why I love Hannah Carlson books, because of the paper and of course the illustration, but the paper, it takes any type of medium. The Dutch exact same that I would normally do with my regular seasons. So this one, it was just kind of a palette cleanser again page that I did. These are with luminance pencils, a little bit of watercolor on the bottom on that jewel, and then some acrylic, some Posca to outline, and then the background is all with my Somat black acrylic paint. And I hope you can see, but no lines, no streaks with that paint. It is just completely flat. I love it. I just love that paint. It's my favorite. I know I say it all the time, but if you haven't tried this paint, it's the So Flat. You can get them on sale. I know they're a little pricey. You can get them on sale, but I've had these tubs for a while and have used them so many times that I'm not running low, even though they're small. And you can put your paintbrush right in. It makes it so easy, and just paint. And I don't even have to do a second coat. I mean, I guess with some colors I might have to. I'm trying to think of a color that I had to do a second coat. But usually it's just one coat and I'm done. So easy to use. Of course it's golden, so it's a beautiful product. But yeah, so these are the paints that I'm talking about whenever I talk about acrylic backgrounds or acrylic paints, or the Somats. But yeah, this one turned out really well. Again, a little bit of gold, shine, outlined the flowers in the pink. But yeah, so that one in my old seasons. Okay. Forest Kingdom will always come out in fall, probably for y'all too. This page was a quick page because usually double page spreads take me a while. I wanted to do this one really quick. And the way that I do things quickly when I want to is I use my watercolor brushes. So for this, I used my Faber-Castell watercolor pens. And really excited about those because we now sell those single stock in the store. So you can get the watercolor pens now if you're missing a color or want to try those in the store. And they are these. So it's these. So yeah, so we have these single stock now. We have all the colors except for black because they were sold out when we got them, but we will restock the black. But yeah, so we have all the colors of those, and those are so great and so fun to use and easy. So that is all of that, Faber-Castell watercolor markers. But the background are actually the Tim Holtz Distress crayons. So you might be familiar with these. They're these. We also sell these open stock in the store right now, which is fun. I think we have all the colors of these. These are great. They're very similar to gelatos. They have a point though versus the gelatos that are flat. So the gelatos are like this. And they have a flat nib, so you can really kind of go to town. But these are great for detailing. I tend to use these really only because when I need a different type of color that maybe I don't have in my gelatos and vice versa. These have, of course, the Distress Oxide type colors, which are really pretty. So I go for these when I need a specific, or I'm looking for a specific shade or a color, or I want to get into those little areas. These I put right on the page. So gelatos, I do the method of, putting it on the palette, spraying it, and then bringing it over with a blender. These I can draw right on the page and then just take a water brush and color them in. So very easy to use. Now, then there's Neocolor 2s, right, which get kind of the same effect. Neocolor 2s I find to be more pigmented, and they just have a different look to them. So, for example, I'm working on a whip in here, if I can find it, up here. So this obviously it always looks bad before it looks good. This is Neocolor 2. And so again, you can see very, very pigmented, darker, and it gives kind of that mottled look. I can get a smoother effect with this, but I can never get as dark of a color with this or with gelatos as I can with Neocolor 2s. So if you're wondering about the difference between the three, gelatos, Distress crayons, and Neocolor 2s, for me, that's the main difference, is when I want more saturation, I use the Neocolor 2s. When I want a different kind of color or get in smaller things, I use my Distress crayons. But I always start with my gelatos because they're my favorite medium. So most of my pages have a gelato background. But anyways, long story short, these are the Distress crayons used for the background of this page, all watercolor markers. I didn't even go over it with pencil. I just kind of left it as it is and then did some Posca highlights, and the dots are Posca. The snake and the crown are all watercolors, and they're pretty watercolors. They're these kind of duochrome, so they have a really, really shiny effect on the snake. The bugs are watercolors, and the crown is a gold duo effect watercolor. And then for the scales, I just outlined it with a Tuliart pen to make the scales stand out. And I find too, like when you use watercolor, it kind of looks a mess until you outline it. So I always tend to do some type of outlining behind that. I need to outline the bug, actually, as I'm looking at that. I forgot to outline the bug. But yeah, so this was just a quick double page spread to kind of play with the Distress crayons and the watercolor markers. But yeah, so I did that one in Forest Kingdom. Okay, let's take a quick break from Hannah. We'll come back to her, don't worry, but we'll take a quick break. And I did some Millie Murata this month. Love Millie Murata. This is probably my favorite Millie Murata book. It's The Beautiful Birds and Treetop Treasures. She has so many books and so many compilation books. This one has really nice paper, and it also just the illustrations are so fun. So this month I did the quails. So these are the California quails. Okay, so if you like animals, if you like birds, these books are for you. They're larger books, so let me make sure it's in the frame. Okay, the reason I love her books is because at the back are the birds and the things that she features. So you can actually look up. Now, I wish the pages were numbered, but they're not, but you can figure it out. But you can look up what is the bird that you are trying to color and give you a good idea of what to color and what it should look like. So in the back, I found out that these were California quails. So I looked up a picture of a California quail, and this is what they look like. I mean, kind of. So my version of what they look like. So these are luminance pencils. There's a Posca white highlight around here. Black Posca for some of the accents. All of the leaves and the flowers are luminance pencils. This paper is good. In her books, the paper is good, but it's pretty slick, and so it doesn't have a lot of tooth. So if you figure Hannah Carlson has a lot of tooth, you can do a lot of different things with that. That's not this. I would say this is a little bit like a Kirby Roseanne's paper. Maybe a little bit less than Kirby paper, but it's that same kind of slick feel. So the background is a So Matte paint, again, in a light green shade. But this I really like this page. I love how the quails turned out. So yeah. If you are intimidated by Millie Murata because of all of the detail, like I would love to do this page. I think these are cardinals. Maybe I'll start this page actually next. But so if you see all the detail, all of the kind of Zen Doodles detail, I do not color all the little details on her pages. So if you look at my quails, so I do not, you can see like there's all that Zen Doodle, all of those little things. I do not color all of that. I usually just do a gradient of my pencils along those about, you know, I pick what the blocks are of color that I'm going to do, and then I do a gradient. But there's no way. I would never have the patience to color all of those little things. Like here on this tree branch, I just treat it like a normal tree branch. I don't look at all the little details. So if you are ever worried about all of the detail in these books, like for this one, there's no way that I would color all of these different marks different colors. I would just make this a single section and just color and shade that single section. So I hope that helps. Because I think I was intimidated by these pages for a long time. And yeah, so the other page that I did, this is a total fail, but I thought I'd share it because, again, we all have fails. I did the robins, which I loved the robins. So I've got the gray, the red, and then the light green on the bottom. And then I did gelato in the background. Don't look at this page, but gelato in the background with some distress ink. And then I thought, oh, I wanted to have the flowers and things kind of fade in the background. So I thought I'd try black. Yeah, I don't like that at all. And so then I was like, oh, but I love how the robins turned out. I didn't want to lose it. So then I thought, well, I'll do kind of a black shiny paint. This black acrylic paint is not my So Matte. I was trying another paint, which I won't even mention here because I immediately put it in the do not use pile. So as you can see, the streaks, and I just got really frustrated with. So I discontinued this page, but I thought I'd share with you because, you know, not every page comes out good. And the whole point of coloring is to try different things, try different mediums. And so I found out I didn't like this shiny paint. Great. Okay, I'm not going to use it. But I did love how I did my robins, and the gelato background back here is really good. But yeah, so you learn as you go. But yeah, so this is the star of the show for this book. So yeah, really like my quails. Also in Millie Murata is this one, is Wildlife Wonders. Again, this is a compilation book. So favorite illustrations from Coloring Adventures. I think there's like 3 or 4 compilation books. And they're a little bit different, but I still really like them. So for this book, I did this one. I tend to do her double page spreads. So for this one, I was playing with a lot of different pencils. This is actually polychromos. So this is all polychromos except for the bright green one. These are my luminance. The rest are all polychromos. The birds, the pheasants are polychromos. And then I did a black acrylic background. And then just some splatter, some stars for that. So to make it at night. Yeah, but just did all different colors of my polychromos. And then did some outline with Tule Art pens. And yeah, so again, very bright and cheery, even though at night. Lots of different greens. This was fun to do. This actually took quite a while with polychromos. I wouldn't probably recommend using polychromos in this book because it was hard. They were hard to blend with this paper. This paper is even slicker than the other paper. But the book is so pretty. There's so many pretty things in here to color. So yeah. The compilation books are great. So if you don't have any Millie, this is a good one to get because you get so many of her beautiful illustrations. But again, that Brilliant Birds is probably my favorite book if I had to choose a favorite. Okay, back to Hannah. So I opened up another Magical Dawn too. So just like I did for my seasons, I now have 2 Magical Dawns to work out of. For this one, I did it because I had ruined a page in my existing Magical Dawn that I really wanted to color. So I opened up another one so I could color it. So I was going to get to the chicken page. I didn't get to it this month, so hopefully next month. This is a whip, so they are looking great. I am going to outline all of the blue with the white Posca, so I need to continue doing that. But I'm really happy with how the background turned out in the oil pastels. This has been sprayed, so I can work on it. But yeah, this isn't oil pastels. Yes, it is oil pastels. Sorry. Yes, it is oil pastels. I was going to say it's Zinnia Color Twos, but no, yes, it is oil pastels. Okay, and this is the page that I completed for a month in this book. So Derwent Inktense. I don't tend, and talking about this page, this one's already completed, although it's one of my favorite pages. Derwent Inktense, I really like. I use them for very specific applications. So whenever I have a lantern, whenever I have a bottle, whenever I have anything that needs to be illuminated from within, I bring out my ink tints. But I am not good enough. I do not use them for large scale pages. So I need to keep practicing them, but I only use them for specific things. So here are ink tints for the Lantern Glow. And then this is all oil pastel for the background. Oil pastel doing a light yellow to a dark is really hard. And if for me at least. And if you struggled with that, do it in layers. So do the black or the dark blue, spray it with workable fixative, and then go in and do your lighter color to make it easier if you're struggling with that. But that's how I do it in order to achieve, because otherwise the dark will just take over the light and you won't be able to get it on your coloring pages. So if I work in layers though, I can usually make it work. This isn't the best example of that. It's kind of, the blend isn't very good, but usually it will work. So yeah, and then I just have some metallic for the bugs so that they shine, some metallic on the lantern so that they shine. But yeah, this page, I'll get rid of this. This page turned out really pretty, I think. So this still remains one of my favorite pages. It'll be in my favorite pages for the year, I think. But this one looks nice. Yeah. So again, that was done. And then I have a couple whips in here besides for the one I just showed you. This is a oil pastel whip that I need to finish up. This is a good example of light and dark not working together. This is a light oil pastel and then a dark one on the other side, and it's not completed, so it's not blended in. I just put the colors down, but you can see how the dark is going to overtake the light and just make it kind of mottled. So I should have done the technique of putting down the dark, leaving space, spraying with workable, and then doing the light. So this might be an abandoned page. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to come back to it, but yeah. Okay, so that's what I did in my old Magical Dawn, and then in my new Magical Dawn, I had a couple pages I really wanted to do, and I had kind of flubbed them up in the other page. So the first one, and they're probably going to stick because there's a lot of medium. The first one that I did in this page is this one. So this is my, what I call my Dragon Lady. So I did her in all greens. So the palette is all greens. Pan pastels for the face. I think I mentioned in the past, I only use pan pastels when I do portraits. So pan pastels for the face, and then luminance pencils for the hair. Excuse me, I'll take a drink. And then these are soft pastels. Faber-Castell soft pastel pencils for the smoke here and for over here in the sand. And then just a variety of different glaze pens and metallic pens and the stars are metallic. And then the background is all black So Matte paint. And then the splatters are green acrylic. So just wanted a very similar cohesive palette with all greens to make it really look like Dragon's Breath and all of this kind of going in. Kind of a Halloween-y page. So that's that one. This is my Phoenix. So the Phoenix page. So this is all watercolor. So hopefully you can see that it really glows. That's an iridescent watercolor all on this and on his body. And this is all oil pastels on the background. And again, did that method of doing the dark first, sprayed it, and then did the light colors so that they didn't kind of get modeled together. And then just took my oil pastel and did my yellow and just did some rays out from the inside, and some stickles in there to give some shine. But yeah, I thought he turned out well. That's my Phoenix. Let's see. The buckling a little bit is from all the watercolors. There's so much media on these pages. I need to put wax paper so they don't get stuck. Let's see. Oh, this is the page that I really wanted to do that I had ruined in my other book. So this is the reason for the new book. So this one is, I think, really pretty and probably will be in my favorite pages again for the year. So Pan Pastels, again, for the face, gave her quite a bit of a flush along her face. This is that method that I showed in the last video with the clouds. So gelato, so iridescent gelato. This is iced rose gelato, and then tea dye for the clouds. So, nope, I take that back. It's velvet, antique velvet, the kind of pink, dark pink one for the ink that I used for the clouds. And then this is all luminance pencils, and the gems, I tried to make them actually look like stones. So you're not going to be able to see that, but they are kind of modeled versus a normal like cabochon stone. And then lots of raised enamel dots. These are all raised with stickles, enamel dots, different types of medium, iridescent, dimensional dots that I have there. And yeah, the hair is all luminance pencils. The tattoo is luminance with some white Posca outline. But really happy with how she came out. I think she's very pretty. Okay, this is a whip. So this is all, and I haven't even sprayed it, so you can see the mess that is over here. I should have sprayed it. This is all with soft pastels. So I'm going to do the whole thing with soft pastels. And then I need to finish up some of this with some gel pen and with some luminance pencils. But that is coming up for the next month. Oh, this is, okay, so right, you know, when we make mistakes, I'm going to show this to you. This is not, but this was a thing that I tried, right? So, okay, these are soft pastels in the background, which beautiful soft pastels in the background that are very, very pigmented. These are, let me get these because if you've never used these are Jack Richardson, pastels. I think these might not be the right ones, but no, this is a, I got this at my local art store, but these are incredible. I think they're made in the US too. These are incredible handmade pastels. So the most pigmented soft pastels that I've ever used. I'm new to them. So they're so pretty and so pigmented. So I tried those in the back, which you can't even really see because of the mess. And then I used ink. So I used Ferris Wheel Press ink splatters, and I didn't wait long enough. And then I went and sprayed because I needed to spray the soft pastels, and that was a huge mistake. So hindsight, I should have done the soft pastels, sprayed, let it dry, and then done the ink so that the ink wouldn't come through on the other page, which it definitely did. So again, life lesson, I have these beautiful Ferris wheel press inks. This is Ferris wheel press, yeah. So I have a bunch of these kind of iridescent ones, these shimmer ones, and I really wanted to play with them for the splatter. And they are pretty, so don't take this as any reflection on this beautiful product, because it is very pretty. But yeah, so that's what happened, and then it just kind of rained down on the page. And then I tried to fix it, and then I tried to spread this. Oh, and it made it worse. But if you can see through all of that mess, I'm here to say that these soft pastels are gorgeous, and I will definitely use them again. And the ink is gorgeous. I will definitely use it again, but in a very different approach next time. I did really like my white lilies too. I don't necessarily ever do white flowers because I find them kind of hard, but I thought those turned out really pretty. So again, if you can see through all of the mess, I think they're very pretty. So anyways, showing this to you because, again, experimenting is really important and learning from that. And I'm happy to share when that happens so that you don't have the same issue. Okay, this page, I was playing with watercolors. These are Daniel Smith watercolors. Again, gorgeous, pigmented, beautiful watercolors in the background, and then a stencil over it with my ink. So I like doing watercolor backgrounds, but I find that because I'm not very good at them, I'm still learning, they tend to be splotchy. So I always will put stencils over things that I think are splotchy so that it kind of hides some of my mistakes. So this stencil I think was really pretty over the background of the watercolor. And then here are my bottles. Again, ink tints, because I have a bottle and I needed to do a glow. Excuse me, I'm gonna take a drink. So I needed to do a glow for the bottle. So again, used ink tints for all of these so that I could get that same glow. This but that's for these. So it's ink tints and then some luminance pencil. This is all luminance pencil. So the bugs, the flower, the leaves is all luminance. Even the stamen in here is luminance, and then some enamel dots. So there's some glitter, there's some shine on this page, some stickles on the bottles, but yeah, I think this page is pretty. It's all the same. You notice though, it's kind of all the same tone. So I needed more contrast on this page. So in hindsight, I shouldn't have done the bugs turquoise, or I should have done the flower to be lighter. But this is what happens when you do kind of tone on tone at the same level in a page versus having that light and dark. So that was the life lesson for this, but I think it's still pretty, and it was fun to play with that new technique. So that's that page. I did the same kind of technique again with the watercolors and the stencil on this page with the birds. And again, the same problem. There's not enough contrast on this page. I have the dark background. I needed to have lighter colors over here versus all the same kind of tone and saturation. But this is, again, Daniel Smith watercolor with a stencil over it. This is a Ciao stencil. We have this actually in the store. We have the other one too. Using dark green ink. This is Forest Moss green ink from Tim Holtz. And then this is all glitter pen and enamel dots and all kinds of different sparkly things. Same thing for the birds. They are just covered with dots and medium and metallic pens. The purple bird is, I think, just beautiful. And then I do use acrylic paint for their faces. Lots of dots here, very raised. Lots of sparkle and shine. But those are my birds sitting on a dark green background. So did that page, tried that out. And then this was the last one I did with that same effect. So again, tone on tone. This is all blues. So it's blue Daniel Smith watercolor with that cloud stencil again and ink in the background. Really wanted this to be dark and moody and look like a storm. And then this is all blue metallic pen for the butterfly. So yeah, that's actually, and then this is Ferris wheel press blue ink and splatters in the background that I learned after that other page. I learned to do it right. So I had sprayed this and then did the splatters. So the splatters turned out without any type of drip down effect, which I think could be really pretty. I just need to play with it more. So that's it for this book, for kind of the restart of this kind of second version of the book, which I'm really excited about. So far, I really like all of these pages that I've done in here. And yeah. Okay, so that's Magical Dawn. Sorry if this video is long. I did so many pages this last month. Okay, Beauty of Horror. So I went through, if you watched the last video, I'm doing this kind of cover to cover. So I went through and did all of these. I'm doing it with different media. So this is all watercolor or watercolor marker that I've been doing it with. Okay, so this page, again, this is another mess page, but I'm showing it to you because I did it and it was an experiment. This is all watercolor. So again, this is the creepy crawly elevator shaft page. I did not want to color all of this with pencil, and I didn't even want to try it. I didn't have the patience for it. So I was like, what could I do to give it kind of the same kind of effect without that? So this is all with Daniel Smith watercolor in various tones, and then some acrylic paint to give it some outline. This is a Corrine fluorescent marker to make the hands stand out, some splatters from the watercolor. And I just kind of went for it to be a mess. I, just embraced the mess a little bit here for this page. So would I do this again? No, there's not enough definition. You can't really see things, but it does kind of look like, I don't know, the inside of something. I don't know. It's kind of gross and dirty, and so it's fine. But for this next page, I'll get back to doing it the same way I did these other pages, so that you can actually see what's going on. But yeah, again, really fun book. Happy to color in that every month for the next little bit. Jewelry box. So in Jewelry box, I think I only did I did 2 pages. So this one, this is Luminance, again with acrylic outline and acrylic background with gold splatters. So you can see the gold splatters there. Very kind of easy palette cleanser page, nothing too special. Pearl drops on the bottom, but yeah. So that is Jewelry box. And I don't think I showed this in the last video, so I thought I would share this one. So this is using a stencil, a Chabella stencil, and then with distress ink around the sides, metallic ink birds, black Posca cage. Yeah, so I wanted this to look like wallpaper in the background, and then have those kind of metallic-y birds. So I thought this page turned out pretty. I like any type of page that I do this distress kind of vintage effect. I find that I really like those pages. Oh, this is a whip. Again, wanted to show it with you because it's that same ink tint approach. So these, again, it's a lantern, which means my ink tints come out. So here are ink tints for the glow inside there. And then I'm working through the pan pastels on the background. So I'm going to spray it, and then I'm going to finish up the yellow so that it doesn't get lost in the black. If you can see, I tried to do some dark blue along the sides around here. I don't know if you can see that, but again, life lesson, the black took over the blue. So when you're using black oil pastel, I don't know that artists ever even really use black oil pastel, but in coloring, I use it a lot. It will take over everything that you're doing. So you got to be careful with that. But yeah, so that's what I did in that page, in that book. Hidden Earth. I only got one, or I got This one, I think, I can't remember if I showed you. I am not going to do a background on this. I think it's pretty as it is. It's got some metallic, but it's very fall. This is all watercolor, but those Faber-Castell watercolor pens that I really like. But that one I'm just going to call done because not everything needs a background. But this one has a background. This is the one that I'm working on right now. I haven't done this side of the page, but I have completed this side. So this is all Paul Rubin oil pastels in the background, and then I've sprayed it. So it's ready now for me to work on the acorns. All of the birds and the branches and everything are done. So this was using watercolor markers and some luminance. So the luminance for the leaves, and then yeah, watercolor markers. So very fall. It's pretty. Yeah. So that's in Hidden Earth. And then the last page I want to show you, if you're still here, thank you for sticking it out. The last page in Grains of Gold was my owls. So these are my bright yellow glowy owls, black metallic or black acrylic background with the Somats. These are using ink tints. So again, I only use ink tints for very specific reasons. This I used for the feathers. You can see they're very bright. And then some glitter and some gold metallic pen. But yeah, so this is ink tints for the owls. And then these, I can't remember if I did ink tints for the leaves. It looks like I did. But it's also a good example, if I did, why I don't use ink tints for everything except for when I'm using really kind of glowy or bright colors, because it just, I don't know, it's fine. I'm just not good enough. But I do like it for my bright shiny owls. Okay, so that is it for my recent pages. So thank you so much if you're still here for sticking with it with me. I hope that was helpful and fun to watch. So we will be back in end of October, maybe early November, with our next set of pages. I am going to probably take a break from Hannah Carlson and work on some other books, so you can expect that in the next video. But again, thank you so much for joining us, and we'll talk soon. Take care. Bye.